Hello guys, once again, thank you for joining my channel. Today I want to talk about the business finance engine. So what do I mean by that? So I've come to see business and finance as complementary tools in a businessman's toolkit. So when I say business in that sense, I mean commerce and trade, or commerce generally. And when I say finance, I mean capital allocation and all that. So so uh, I see business and finance as engine and transmission. So business in this case, so when I say engine and transmission, the engine, the purpose of an engine in a car, let's just use the analogy of a car. In a car, the engine is the initiator of the motion. It trans chemical energy, kinetic energy, and all that, right? But it's the initial motion. That's where the initial motion happens. Then with a sequence of gears, transmission happens, and it's directed in a certain way to the wheels and the speed and everything, right? So if you understand this combination, the engine just generates the initial motion. The transmission tunes it or directs it in a certain manner or in a required manner. So that's where the transmission has the gears. That's where you choose whether you want to move you want forward motion or backward motion or the reverse motion. So the transmission basically just tunes the motion. It tunes it to whatever the specific requirements of the driver are. So the driver is connected to the motion by the transmission, and it chooses by selecting the gear. So in this sense, the businessman, a good businessman, should understand this combination. The business is the channel for cash flow. Money comes from the business, or you pump money into the business and it reproduces money. And it's very efficient at this if you know how to organize a business very well. Very good structures, very good operations. You have a very good cash flow, right? So cash flow is like motion, right? Transmission, finance redirects the money in a certain way to build wealth, right? So a businessman using finance, basically the main thing about finance in this combination, the engine that I'm calling the business finance engine, finance is capital allocation. Capital is generated from the business and many other ways, but primarily business. It's channeled into the required channel or into the required use by finance. So finance multiplies, so business generates the money, finance multiplies the money, and this cycle continues because once the money is multiplied by finance, it can be redeployed into business or other businesses to generate a more powerful ecosystem of this combination of two things. So in that sense, I'm very interested in explaining to you this concept because that's the way I see it. Some people see it in very, very separate terms, but I realize the most powerful way to see either of them is as a combination. And how do they intersect? Where do they merge? Where do they connect? So I'm going to talk about that. So business generally has cash flow, Cash flow is the money coming in. So the net money coming into the business. So net money coming into the business, I mean, money coming in should be greater than money coming out. And that's positive cash flow. It's called positive cash flow. And why is cash flow important? So first, let me tell you some things about cash flow. Cash flow, the volumes of the cash flow are not as important. Okay, if you have to compare two things, so there's volume and frequency. of cash flows. If you have to compare those two things, which one is more important than the other? Of course, they are all necessary. You want large volumes coming in at every point in time, but the frequency is also as important. Why is frequency important? You see, frequent money coming in means, so I can be having one person having frequent cash flows, but the volumes of each of those cash flows is not as large. Let's say a magnitude of 3 less than a competitor or somebody like that. Yeah, a competitor. Let's say a competitor is a magnitude three times more in the volume of cash flow they get in. So let's say, let me just use direct examples. So I get 10,000 every month from my business. Or my business brings in 10,000 every month. That's positive. Let's say that's positive cash flow. I've already done the net. Now 10,000 every month remains for me every month, right? Another person every month, like without fail, every month, as long as the business is running, 10,000 every month without fail. Somebody else is making 30,000. So that's what I mean by 3 times magnitude. 30,000. Let's say every 3 months, which is not sure. Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes it's 5 months, and sometimes it takes longer. But it's very, very variable. Mine is 10,000 every month, very steady. If you have to vet those two businesses, without looking at any other thing, I'll tell you take the one with 10,000 every month, frequently, without variability. If there's variability, it's very little. But the mean, let's say the average cash flow coming in is 10,000 every month. So that's more important, because you see the thing about frequency, it unlocks the power of compounding. Yeah. So if you have to put that money, if you have to deploy that money into, you see, if you understand the concept of the time value of money, money is more valuable today than in future. And if you have to get or have to put away money to get it in future, you have to be paid a price for that, which is called interest. Now, so frequent cash flow means you get your money now and you can do more with it, and that's it. Also, you have more options when you get your money more frequently than not, if you're not getting your money frequently. So in cash flow, frequent money coming in is more important than the volume of the money coming in. Of course, if there's a very big disparity in the magnitude of money coming in compared to someone else, then maybe volume, but mostly frequency is more important than volume. Frequency and steadiness of the cash flows, because you can be getting money every month, but there's variability in the amount. So if it's steady amount of money, you can do very, like planning, there's this aspect also of planning. If you have very variable cash flows, planning becomes very hard. Yeah, you can use the mean, but yeah, still very hard. Now let's go back to what I was explaining. So the business generates the cash flow and it gives you options. So cash flow means options. When I hear cash flow, I hear options. I can deploy this money into the business. If the money, I can deploy this money into the business. If the business has good enough money in it, it's good, sorted well with money, I can plow this money into finance and get very competitive returns, and this is more money I can use to do other things. So this is why now that's where they intersect. Deployment. So value generation from a business in terms of cash flow, redeployment into more productive uses by finance, get interest, and you have a very wonderful sequence of an engine and transmission, which is business and finance, generating for you wonderful returns. So yeah, that's what I wanted you to explain. I hope you can understand that concept. If it's very wonderful, tune in for more wonderful ideas with me. Thank you. See you once again. Cheers.